We are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Beacon Roundtable here with the Beacon Group. And we have finally started our rotation of special guests. Today, we have the CEO and founder of Archimedes, Oz Rabinovich. Thanks for joining us today, Oz. And we also have no Jangle because he's at Permissionless today. So if you're at Permissionless, go put your arm around Jangle and take a selfie while you're walking out there on Austin. But we do have another Texan here. We have one of our coaches. We have Gigi on the line, also as one of our rotational guests. So welcome to you both. You can say hi. It's fine.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Well,
Good to have some
subject
female
of Jangle
voices.
for a second. If
Go
you
ahead.
do run into him at Permissionless, not financial advice, but you really should buy his friend tech keys and pump my bags. I think I own
Yeah.
approximately 1/3 of his friend tech keys right now, so I'd really appreciate it.
Well, considering that my friend tech keys are worth more than his, and I'm supposed to be going to zero, this is inexcusable.
Wait, are they?
I think mine's the highest, guys.
All right. Well,
we're lucky CJ's not here.
Yeah, CJ obviously is the highest in the group.
Yes.
He's a 0.3 ETH almost.
He was up at 0.5, I think, at one point, but yeah.
Oh, he was
My
up at
goodness.
0.67 at some point.
Oz, do you have a friend tech account, sir?
No.
No? Okay.
I don't have
That's
it
all right.
either.
We'll front run some Oz keys then. We'll do that later on.
We'll set up the bot later.
Okay. Well, as you all know, we're going to talk about news. We're also going to talk about Archimedes. Oz is here to promote V2 of Archimedes, the Syracuse upgrade that happens tomorrow. So you're going to get some alpha about the beta that's going on tomorrow. So hello to the Archimedes community. Thanks for joining us today as well on the call. 1 second while I just get the announcement out here in our Discord. Hopefully you all are doing well. It's been a pretty crazy last couple days. I was at a wedding. Gabe was at a wedding. Andrew was not at a wedding. And I don't think Oz or Gigi were either. But man, I am like a bobblehead right now with the change in altitude. It's pretty gnarly right now.
Yeah, you guys have all been traveling, and I've just been here in front of my green screen as usual. It's been an interesting week or so.
But are you really there?
Yeah.
Are you really not? You're not AI?
No.
All right. Because Andrew is our resident AI person. He's huge into AI.
Oh, don't put that on me. Don't put that on me, Chris.
All right, we'll get started on the news for the weekend, rather for the week. Big news, obviously today. If you haven't been following, it's that FTX is going to be doing their sell-off today, supposedly. Should you be worried is really the better question. What does it mean for FTX to offload billions in crypto? So let me give you an idea of what they have. They have more than 685 million in locked Solana tokens. So there's the catch. It's locked. It's also through the bankruptcy proceeding. So there's actually a cap on how much they can sell. That's also here through this Telegraph article. I'll have all this, of course, in our show notes for everybody who's following along at home. And essentially, I think there's like 100 million they can sell per week or per month, with actually might be just per transaction, with 200 million depending on the token. Mike Novogratz from Galaxy Capital, somewhat based guy, is overseeing the selling of these assets, liquidation. So it's really more a matter of if it's going to really affect anything. I was checking out Solana's chart before we got on, and it's been holding fairly steady. I don't know, Gabe, what do you think? Do you think this is going to be fairly priced in? What do you think is going to be like the big effects of, essentially FTX putting a whole bunch of tokens back on the market?
I just don't see them dumping trillions worth on the open market. Like, what if they started that and they're only allowed to do 100 million a day? Like, that would completely tank the markets. If people knew that there was 3 billion of sustained selling coming at regular intervals, everyone would just dump everything in short.
And I am very sure there are a lot of people trying to short everything on this list right now, which is Sol, FTT, BTC, ETH. What else is on here? Aptos, Dogecoin,
Well-
42 million of Dogecoin, 39 million of Matic, and 29 million of XRP. Not the HPOP, the Harry Pac-Man Obama version.
I don't necessarily think they are going to sell on the open market. It may well be like OTC deals and things like that that wouldn't directly impact the market in that way. And yeah, usually when things are this predictable, markets generally don't tend to play out the way you think they will. Because if all retail,
any thoughts?
If all retail players are just shorts, yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure everything is like OTC, and probably already like they close it before, or they're gonna do it in the future. I feel like there's smart people over there that they want to keep their value as high as possible. So I think they probably, or I hope that they know what they're doing, because yeah, if they will just sell everything at once, we'll see like all the market. It's not even like what they're holding, like dropping like really fast.
Yeah, I agree. Go ahead, Gabe. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. Just what I was saying is, if it's this predictable, the market, then usually there's some bigger players influencing it to make sure that all the retail players can't just win. The market generally sorts itself out. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And one thing that, if you're a part of our mastermind, one thing that we really push, of course, is having the all-weather portfolio. Pretty much means just making sure that you have everything, in specific buckets, that you're not completely over-invested in any one protocol. Stuff that Gigi likes to push, of course, as a great investor. Do you see yourself? Do you actually hold any Sol, Gigi?
I do not hold any Sol.
Okay. But with regards to staying all weather, what do you think would be the key for anyone who's listening to this for the first time, making sure that they don't get completely slammed if there is some volatile, crazy price action?
Well, I think the number one thing is just keep your emotions in check. You don't want to make any, panic sells. I would like it to go down a little bit. I look forward to buying more ETH and Bitcoin if that were to happen. But, I like to have a system around my buckets. You mentioned buckets, but my all-weather portfolio is around 85% in blue chips. So that's, stables, some ETH, my Bitcoin, and a couple other ones that I rank as blue chips, and then 10% in medium risk. Those are farming positions. And then my 5% for the degen in me, that it's fun to play with, especially when the market is boring. So it kind of keeps things challenging for me. But no matter what, I just try to stick to those buckets and those percentages so that I don't get wrecked.
And that's the key. We don't want to get wrecked. Simple as that.
Curious to hear what you do with your stables, if that's okay.
Yeah, great question.
Yeah, so you say you hold like 85 in blue chips and most of them like in stables. What do you do with the stables? Just holding them, or are you getting some yield on them?
No, I don't just hold stables. All of my stables most of my stables are looped on Radiant protocol, so that I'm making around 20 to 30% APY on my USDC. And then I also have some positions in like perp exchanges. So I provide liquidity, GMX, HMX, Vela, those types of platforms.
I forgot to mention, Oz, that Gigi is known as the Arbitrum Queen in our group. So if you're ever looking for a good Arbitrum protocol to go into, you can always ask her.
Yes, most of my positions are on Arbitrum and Base. A little bit on Avalanche.
Avalanche, what's that? Kidding. Kidding. I love you, Ava Labs. Hope to have you soon. Hopefully a friend of the channel. Okay. We'll go ahead and move on. So there is actually CPI numbers coming out today. Gabe, are they out already?
Yeah, I believe they're out.
Okay.
0.1% up from expectations. showing a little bit of a climb again, mainly due to gas prices, I think.
Good, good. Well, what that means for anybody who might be following this is that BTC did not crash below 25K as possibly something that could have happened. To lose support. So thankfully they're back above 26.2. As you can see in the lovely chart here, we're seeing a little bit of a rally. Do you think this sustains till next Wednesday, Gabe, or are we looking at this is kind of just some ranginess based on just market news?
I mean, yeah, we are still well below the bull market support band, which is now also turned towards a downward trend. So I would need to see us break above, the 28K mark and sustain above that to be confident, and then hold the bull market support line as support multiple times before we'd be comfortable.
Excellent. Ars, are you much of a trader, sir? Do you trade a lot of majors?
Not really.
Not really, just more of a yield optimizer.
Yeah, I'm into the yield.
Liquidity provider.
Yield game.
Excellent. Yeah. As you should be. Yeah, so that's basically the news for today with regards to, we were very, very curious if they were going to hold 25K, which, they for the most part did, but as Gabe mentioned, where they're outside the support band. So something to kind of keep in mind as we're moving forward. Specifically there were some people who did get liquidated over the last week. So I would, of course, be very wary about trading with leverage in this market right now, and just go ahead and make sure you use your tools to keep your movements in front of you. Farm with yield. Simple. Okay. And now that we've kind of got that out of the way, we'll talk about our guest here, obviously. Oz from Archimedes. Thanks for being here today. I have this fantastic article for you guys from the team. I'll go ahead and put here in the chat for anybody who has not seen it. Please feel free to read it. They're launching V2 tomorrow with protected single pools. Go ahead, and Oz, I'll go ahead and spotlight you for a minute. Tell us a little bit about what we're looking to expect. If anybody's never actually used Archimedes, a quick introduction, please, on the basics of what Archimedes looks to do.
Cool. Thanks, Chris. And first of all, what we want to do in the vision is to be the biggest lending and borrowing marketplace. That's why we call Archimedes. We're all about leverage. And what we're launching tomorrow is basically what we call PSPs, or protected single pools. So if you want to participate in the different yield pools that are like curve, convex, or a balancer, but you don't want to all the time track and monitor your position to make sure that is the pool that I'm in as equilibrium? Am I in risk? So basically, we automate everything for you, and we also added compounding and some other really cool things. And we try to simplify basically how can you get into the different yield farming pools. So this is what we're launching tomorrow. We try to make it as easy for the user while offering a lot of risk monitoring, and also take basically all the pain points that user had, and basically have smart contract and also backend that do all the hard process. And this is a great graph that kind of show it. You as a user, you just deposit with us. We have the health monitors. We have all basically the checks that our program is doing, and you can just sit back and enjoy your yield.
And what's interesting about these monitors, so the one thing about the monitors, they're off-chain monitors, correct?
Correct.
And no, that's great. And that's especially for people who are looking to, they're not as active, they're doing other things. This could be a really great strategy for anybody who's looking to, in a way, kind of set it and forget it, but still looking for great yield that definitely beats anything that they're seeing out there, in the regular TradFi market, or at least that's the goal, right? With using a little bit of leverage.
Yeah, exactly.
What I wanted to obviously talk about was that your first pool. Go ahead and tell us what the first pool is going to be for the protected single-sided pool.
It's going to be ETH Plus, which is the Ethereum of reserve. So in theory, you shouldn't have any impairment loss. and still make nice returns. And we do it on top of convex.
Okay, so it's a convex pool for ETH plus with reserve protocol, correct?
Correct.
That's awesome.
And you deposit it or rep it and just enjoy the return.
And it'll be done through the Archimedes protocol, correct?
Exactly. And
okay,
we also like auto compound, so you don't need to be there and like claim, restake. We do everything for you.
And what's the reward token going to be? Is it going to be in the Archimedes token, which is Arch, or is it going to be in ETH?
Everything going to be what you deposit. So if you deposit ETH, you're going to get ETH at the back end. So no need to play with CRV, CVX. No need to sell them. We do everything for you. We sell them, buy more ETH, and basically stake also this. And because we're going to have a lot of TVL and many users, we basically pay for all those gas fees, and it's going to be pretty free. So it's like gas free auto compounding.
Awesome. How many different pools are you guys looking to come out with eventually? I mean, obviously this is just the first one.
Pools. We're going to launch tomorrow with 6 pools, but this is just the beginning. As we see more demand from the community and more people asking for things, we'll basically just expand to more pools. And then the nice thing, we're going to offer leverage on those different pools, which we can touch about it later. We start on mainnet because we know that's where the biggest pain points when it comes to like auto compounding and gas. And also we see that's where a lot of the TVL. But in our roadmap, we have by the end of this quarter, basically, or by the end of the year, to be on 1, maybe even 2 L2s.
That's a great point you brought up. So obviously, with the gas being the issue that it is with regards to how expensive it is with auto compounding, what is the strategy there? Is it multiple times per day? Is it like daily? Every other day? How do you guys optimize when is the right time to auto compound?
Yeah, so we basically check what's going to be the fees at every moment, and we can check it like on the back end. And when we see when it's smaller than, I think it's like 1.5%, or like something really low, that's when we auto compound. So in the beginning, if the TVL of the pool is going to be low, it might take even like 1 week or 2 weeks until we auto compound. But if the TVL is large, it can be a few times a day. So basically, we make it that it's going to be really, really low compared to your APY.
So it's based on the amount of TVL in the pool, based on the fees that it would cost to auto compound the rewards, correct?
Exactly.
Okay, excellent.
Love dynamic systems.
Yeah, that's great. Any questions about this, Andrew or Gabe or Gigi?
No questions, but I'm excited. But I'm excited that you'll be on an L2. I don't do much on Ethereum mainnet, but this looks really appealing to me for a layer 2.
Yeah,
strategy.
And we hear this a lot from our community, so for sure it's over there in the roadmap. So after we launch now on mainnet, and then we're going to offer leverage, and it's going to be really cool because we're going to also offer return on Bitcoin or like wrapped Bitcoin, which we know something that is huge demand. And then basically our next step, once we have those, is to go to L2s when we know many of the players are.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't really have any questions either, but I am excited for the mechanisms that like this that can maximize yield on what's really essentially single-sided ETH exposure. I think it's great to have more tools in the toolbox there. And I would imagine that if you guys are able to keep the rate competitive to other liquid staking derivative, pair incentives / positions out there, that would probably gobble up a whole bunch of TVL. Because I would think, I'm DCAing into ETH right now. I would think that would be what a lot of other smart people would be doing right now as well.
Yeah, we hope so too. We want to be super attractive. And the reason to use us, yes, you can go nowadays to Lido and probably make, I didn't check lately, but probably like in the 4%. But on the other end, you can go to MS ETH frax ETH and make 27%. But maybe for you, you see it as more risky, and this is where we come into play. You have like this risk monitor that can check it. So, and this is how we can keep basically the rates competitive, because you can go to pools that maybe you think are a bit more risky, but you have the risk monitoring. So you say, hey, I feel comfortable going over there. Then instead of making the 4 or 5% in the high TVL, more secure pools, you can go to some that seems a bit more risky, but you have the risk, basically the risk monitoring tool, and this is why you can get like those higher APY.
Could you, if you don't mind, could you dive in a bit deeper on how the risk monitor will work, and also how you guys handle liquidations, since you're going to be offering leverage? How does all that work on your platform?
So basically we have 2 questions. One is like, what's the mechanism now on the single pools, or the protected single pools? So basically all the time on the back end, we check, I think, like every block, what's the equilibrium in the pool, which means how much of the funds are, let's say, in ETH, and how much in the let's say ETH plus, or like the X ETH. And if it's out of equilibrium and we have like a certain threshold, we just exit the pool before there is a large slippage. And then we check only the day after, we check every block when the equilibrium is back again, and then we put the money back in. So basically you're not the last one to be like a bag holder, and you shouldn't have high slippage when you exit the pools. So that's for your question on single pools. As for liquidation, it's a bit more complicated, and we didn't finish it. We're still waiting for the audit and everything. So it still comes like an alpha, the leverage itself and the leverage on Bitcoin. So I'll kind of like hold with it and share more information in the user doc once we have all of them finalized.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, just as a reminder, everybody, this is going to be a beta launch for tomorrow. And again, I think it's really interesting that you guys have chosen to, optimize and provide leverage on aggregating protocols such as Convex and Aura. Convex being for Curve, Aura being for Balancer, which is nice because it actually easily lends, especially on the Balancer side, to easily move to the L2s, since Aura is already available on Optimism as well as Arbitrum.
Yeah, same with like Convex. The reason we chose, I think they're also on Arbitrum and Polygon. So and in the future we want also to support like Uni v3. So yeah, let's say to add L2 shouldn't be too complicated. We actually have most of the code, and again, this is a beta what we're launching now, no audit, but when we do audit, we'll add the leverage and hopefully also like 1 and 2.
Just a quick note from one of your community managers, Raphael. Just so everyone knows that the auto compounding is free of gas for the users. So there's some really nice capital efficiency there. So if you're looking to get on mainnet, worried about any of the gas fees, they're going to be doing it free of charge for gas for the user. So that's good to know. I did have a question. So obviously with Archimedes V1, you guys did a lot of stablecoin farming. Obviously with V2, it's kind of a push more to LSTs and liquid stake derivatives and providing liquidity and optimization in that way. What kind of caused that change in philosophy there? Was it just kind of seeing where the market was going and realizing there was just better opportunities to optimize that type of market? Yeah.
So first of all, like now we are launching with 6 pools, 3 of them going to be stables, and 3 gonna be like stable coins, like US dollar stable coins, and 3 gonna be ETH pool related. So we're still big believers in stable, so we didn't forget it or anything. And the main reason why now we're focusing more like LSDFi and some others is just because of the competition. That's where we've seen we can have more edge. Because right now, if you want to compete in the USD stablecoin, you need to offer really, really compelling APY. As Gigi mentioned, she's making like 20 to 30% on her stables. So if you want to participate again in this game and offer leverage on stables, you probably need to offer 20 or 30%. And we just ran the models, and it just wasn't sustainable without giving your own native token, which that's not our intention here, to be like inflation, like a token with inflation. So this is why our focus right now is more on LSDs and stable, and Bitcoin-related strategies. But what we just launched this Thursday, we're still big believer in stables. So if you see stable pools that you want that we will have, we're happily do so. And it's still one of our focuses and where we really believe. We just think it shouldn't be coming right now. It should be maybe like the second or third step.
That's a great point. Rafa, if you could put your guys' Discord in the chat, I'd greatly appreciate that. Yeah, definitely, check out the project. Check out their, if you want to become a holder and become part of governance, help propose new pools that you want them to put together. There's one that we talked previously with Oz about with a Bitcoin LST, their own version of a wrap to Bitcoin, which we don't have a lot of liquid staked Bitcoin options. So this is going to be a huge move for anybody who's interested with their Bitcoin and trying to get some good farming with BTC, specifically with WBTC currently. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're still going to have a few months until we do like our own tests and audit and everything before we launch it. But yeah, it should come until the end of the year. But I think Gigi mentioned that she has a lot of blue chips and it's like Bitcoin, Ethereum. I'm the same thing. And okay, Ethereum, I know what to do with. My stables, I also, like, everyone has his own strategies. But then the Bitcoin right now, like, when I look outside, I don't find anything that is compelling enough for me to take it out of my hardware wallet and the safe and everything. So this is why we think there is a really a lot of demand and there is a need for this in this market. So this is kind of like why we're focusing on it right now.
That's interesting that you say that, and I'm happy that you guys are keeping that mindset. So, with that said, any thoughts about possibly doing DOT, XRP, ADA, any of these things that people are just holding and maybe not really sure? Well, there are obviously places to stake those on those specific networks, but if you could do it in an EVM setting, would that be something you guys would be willing to consider as well?
So basically, your question is if we're going to offer maybe in the future more tokens that are like the XRP of the world, or like basically something that you cannot really stake, basically any token.
Exactly. Yes.
So yeah, I think the infrastructure that we're building is basically for it. That in the future you can have any token. It doesn't have to be like Bitcoin. It can be or Ethereum or stables. It can be any token out there, which can bring much larger market opportunity. But on the other hand, you need demand for it, that people want to take leverage on it, because it's a two-sided marketplace. So we believe for Bitcoin, Ethereum, stables, there is a market for it. For, let's call it the XRP, or like I don't want to call it second tier because it's not second tier, but like, not the, let's say top 20 market cap tokens that are not like Bitcoin or Ethereum. I'm not sure, especially now in this winter, if there is demand, but for sure infrastructure going to support it. And that's a great idea maybe to add to the roadmap.
I'm just trying to provide some hopium for a lot of people who are holding a lot of coins that we don't love as long. But you mentioned to Gigi about making sure we had people who wanted to, because people look in their hardware wallets all the time and they ask us, what should I do with this? What should I do with this? I'm like, well, we normally, obviously not financial advice, we recommend you have a very small amount of blue chips that you have high conviction in. And there are some people who have high conviction in things like DOT and XRP and ADA.
They probably shouldn't, though. I mean, XRP and ADA, not financial advice, but you probably shouldn't have high conviction in those coins.
Well, we're not going to talk about XRP today, but they have a new non-custodial wallet that's running on Celo that they're launching today. This is all 2049. So if you're at 2049 in Asia, feel free to start leaking the alpha this way. But a lot of interesting stuff happening there today at 2049. CJ is there actually. So, but yeah. So Andrew, you had a question for Oz. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is another, I don't know, a little bit pushing out of the ballpark question. But when you're looking at L2s, it seems like you're really considering optimistic rollups and places that already have the infrastructure. the infrastructure for you to layer on top of, for like Balancer, Convex, etc. Kind of an opinion that we have had for a little bit is that it's probably going to take at least 1 to 3 years for ZK EVMs to take off, if they take off. And as you're looking about, looking at which L2s to build on and such, I'm just curious, Oz, like what's your vibe on ZKs?
Yeah, so we spoke with many actually of the teams that building there, and personally, I'm a big fan. And as a protocol, the way we see it is first we care that there is TVL over there, and also we care about grants and all like the good stuff, which I think is available over there. But the way we're going to decide which L2s we're going to go to is by where the community will kind of like propose and then vote on. So I don't think it matters too much how I see it. It's more where the community will take it. And right now, when we speak with our users and people that want to use us, we basically hear on like Arbitrum, Optimism, and some people now starting to speak about Base. So personally, I'm a big believer in the ZK Sync of the world, but that's not what we see basically from the field or from what we hear from the market.
That makes sense. And at least like the way you're describing how you're building your product right now, around, the ETH and the Bitcoin, that I don't know that there's going to be as much of a demand for people to like go to the next hot chain with that. Like it's not like I don't know. It seems like there isn't really a big benefit to you guys to like being a first mover on going to a new chain, unless like there were grants that were super attractive. Like you want to be where the people feel safe and where the people already are with those blue chips. So that makes perfect sense to me.
Cool.
Excellent. Well, so just to recap, V2 of Archimedes comes out tomorrow. 6 pools on the docket. They're in beta. Definitely check them out. Wanted to, of course, make sure we'll have the links in the show notes for where to go for Archimedes, like available currently on ETH mainnet. Anything else you want to close with, Oz, before we move on to some more other topics with your launch tomorrow? And again, thank you for being here.
Like join our community, read the docs, and please let us know like if you want to see any changes, if something you like, you dislike, and we're here for the community. So thanks for having me, and also like thanks for the amazing community you've got at Beacon.
Happy to have you. And excited to work with you guys to help spread the word for Archimedes moving forward. For any of our mastermind members, we'll, of course, once these things launch, we'll have some videos to kind of walk you through how that goes and, how to get a position started there at Archimedes with version 2. All right, moving on to next topics. And again, what do you have a time tomorrow for when the launch is going to be before we move forward?
I need to double check kind of like, I think engineering, everything is good. So it's more marketing when they decide. I know we have Rafa is like our CMO here. So Rafa, if you want to write in the comments, if you have time, but not sure exactly. We want to make it fit for all the time zones. So I'll let him know.
Excellent. And the website is archimedesfi.com, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Put that there in the comments for everybody. Feel free to check them out. And again, I didn't actually get that context until you said it, but it makes so much sense when you talk about leverage and the leverage and Archimedes. So that's a great tie-in. I love that. So definitely check them out tomorrow. Archimedes with their V2 launch, the Syracuse. Again, it's in beta, but yeah, really exciting stuff. Had a really great chat with Oz last weekend, and our community is very excited for what's happening. And again, with Rafa just mentioned between 10 and 12 p.m. PST. I'll just show this one then for all of those tomorrow. So excited to and definitely join the community. Bunch of great people there. You can certainly ask your questions if you have any and find out more. and a lot of great people back in the group. Okay, we'll go ahead and move on to the next topic, which is an interesting topic. It's something that a lot of I guess a lot of members and just people in general is like, how do you get into on-chain finance? How do you get into DeFi? And generally, the old answer was through a CEX, but MetaMask, the market share leader in web wallets, is now trying to become the off-ramper of choice through their new, they just introduced buying. You can certainly buy through MetaMask, but now you should be able to sell and make it so you can actually sell within the wallet itself. In fact, I don't have this on the agenda either. They have a playground called Snaps, and they're doing some new things to now have Bitcoin as part of the networks you can get to through MetaMask, which is kind of crazy, actually. So, a lot of things going on. Oz, what wallet do you normally use when you're in DeFi? Is it MetaMask or do you use something else?
So usually it's like a ledger or whatever hard wallet they have that connected or to MetaMask or Wallet Connect. So
nice. Do you use Rabby or anything like that?
no.
See that? Best in the business.
All right.
All of these we use MetaMask. Everyone's asking, why don't you use Rabby? I'm like, Rabby's cool. I like Rabby, but for my money, it's gotta be MetaMask, right? And Gabe doesn't
Rabby's
lose.
new.
Rabby's new. There you go. So again, they have this new feature called Sell, and what's interesting about Sell is it's just like their buy, and I know that obviously it's like their buy, but just in reverse. But what's interesting about this is that they're actually aggregating different providers based on where you are. So, for example, this is for the buy, but for the sell, it's very similar. You just have assets that you have. You can actually choose them and you can sell them. When we say sell, we mean cash out. And you can do them through any of the providers that are here, that then you're working with a lot of the same people. So in this case, this is the international version, I believe, because there's Sardine, MoonPay, and Banksa. But if you're in the US, and let me show you live how this looks. If I'm here in the US, let's see what I can do here too. Get started, US. Let's just say I'm in California, for example. I have MoonPay, or I can use PayPal. So that's part of the other big news too. So you can actually cash out through PayPal, and nice from Gigi, because if you have a PayPal account, that actually kind of a big effing deal, specifically with everything that PayPal's doing with PYUSD. You can then send that to anybody. So this is interesting. Let me go back. Let me go on the buy side. Actually, the buy side. Again, you have PayPal and you also have Cash App, but you can only sell through PayPal or through MoonPay. So what that means is you'll be able to tie it directly to an ACH account, a debit card. With PayPal, you have a bunch of different options, but again, let me look at the sell. I think it's only specific assets that you can sell with, but it's this is pretty big. This is a pretty big deal. Let's see, what other notes do I have here?
Yeah, that's a big deal. I use PayPal for most of my payments when I buy things online. So that's pretty cool. What are the fees, Chris? Do we know how much they're going to charge me?
It's going to be pretty nasty because it's PayPal. That's where they make their money. So, honestly, that's honestly obviously the trade-off, right? So if you don't want to use an off-ramper like a traditional one, like a CEX, so like Coinbase, or if you use some of the smaller ones like Cato, Cato.money, Juno Finance, even Stripe with crypto.link.com, some of these others, you will be paying a little bit. Like I would be shocked if it's not 5%.
Okay.
So that's just me.
And right now it's only Ethereum mainnet.
It's only
no
yep.
L2s. Okay. Oh, it says
that's
I'm
a good
reading
question.
now. L2s are coming.
Yeah, L2s are coming.
Okay.
Yeah, so right now, if you're on ETH mainnet, obviously that's an attractive option. And again, this is really just more of, having more options, right? So the ability to do that, is good. But if you have other ways to, to off ramp, obviously, obviously that's better. What were you gonna say, Gigi?
I think it's going to help with more adoption, crypto adoption. This just makes it a lot easier for new people to enter. So I like that.
I agree. Gabe, Andrew, any thoughts on our favorite
like
company,
to see-
PayPal?
Yeah, I mean it's another option to use, which is good. But I would like to see the fees they're charging on this page when I'm getting the quote.
Yeah, that would be nice.
But probably the target user, let's say it this way. Like I'm sure anyone in this call, maybe even the people that listening are not the target user, and this is why they don't show the fees. Because honestly, probably each one of us, even if they don't show it, we calculate it like on our back end. But I find it amazing. Like I think it will be amazing for the next bull run, just to be more on ramp, off ramp. So I think this is great for the community, for DeFi, Web3, and everything. So I think it's really good.
It makes it a
Yeah,
lot
I
easier
can-
for people to get crypto on chain. Yeah.
Like if I think about my parents, like yes, they may using my protocol probably a no-go in the next 6 months, 1 year, but that's something we try to solve on how to make DeFi more simple. But maybe something like this, it would be much better for them.
Yeah, and this
No, we
is
just
like
need
I said, a mainstream option. Go ahead, Andrew.
We just need that system, right, where someone can push the deposit with PayPal funds on the Archimedes site, and it'll just automatically buy you the ETH plus, the ETH, get into that
Yes.
single-sided position. And maybe they will have to pay 10% in fees to get into it, but it's fine. It's okay. That's fine. But yeah, it's progress. This interface is nice.
And that's the key, right? It's not hard to do. That would be the one thing. If it was like, and that's something that can be said about DeFi in general, is that it's not the most intuitive. That's where Coinbase is coming in with Base and making, withdrawing and using the platform very, very intuitive, very easy to use. PayPal doing this, this is, in my opinion, a huge disruptor. Not only because they're paired with Paxos, which is very transparent and very, well liked, I guess is the word to use. But there's going to be movement in regulations because of how quickly and how many people they have backed, or they're going to be bringing to the forefront. Don't count out the power of PayPal. Oh God, that means Elon Musk is going to do something with Twitter, isn't he? I mean, that'd be silly for me to say that he's not, but I'm curious to see what happens the next 2 months with X, with regards to how this is going to work. I would not be shocked if we see something very, very quick here. And again, 2 weeks ago, we mentioned that X.com's next code name for their newest upgrade is the PayPal upgrade. So,
Sounds like he wants to compete with PayPal, not integrate with it.
oh, I'm pretty sure he's going to compete with PayPal. I don't think he's definitely.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's no love lost for that.
Well, I'm not
Yeah.
an Elon Musk drama expert, but I like seeing more on ramps. I'd like to
Yeah,
see
I
more
agree.
decentralized on ramps that find a way to do it in a compliant way in the future. But that is going to not necessarily be something that's ever going to be super user friendly.
I guess we'll see what happens here, right? And again, this isn't on the agenda either, but and it's a weird tangent. I apologize, but Justin Bieber released.
boy.
I already see people laughing. Listen, this is interesting. So I hung out with one of our members, and I didn't know this. Her son is a singing celebrity. He was on The Voice, and we were talking about this. We were sharing a meal together, but Justin's company or custodian, they released an NFT version of his song. And basically, if you hold that NFT, you will actually get a piece of all of the streaming revenue that comes back to it as a holder. And again, looking to find new ways for more people outside of this space to come in and draw them in. We talked what a month ago we talked about Harry Styles and the fan token thing. And he brought in 5,000 new people in 4 hours into the space, or what was more than that. But yeah, I mean, there's going to be more people coming in, and having something like PayPal, regardless of how we feel about it, we're going to get more people here into on-chain using things, like that, using things like Archimedes, and we have to be ready for the ways they're going to get there. Is it going to be cheap? Most likely not for a lot of people, but honestly, for most people outside looking in, it's not the worst thing. It's not the worst charge in the world. They may be scared away from what they hear about using Ethereum being so expensive, but if I'm just going to put in 500, if I'm putting $100 and I have to pay $5 just to get in, I'll give it a try. Why not? And all we need is more of these. Yeah, I'll give it a try. I mean, look at what happened with Reddit. They brought 4.3 million new wallets into Polygon just from selling digital collectible avatars, because they're not going to use NFTs as the term. There's going to be more of this happening. So, yeah.
Love the air quotes.
Yeah, I mean, it's silly, but at the same time, yeah, these are all ingredients as this pot is starting to boil. It's starting to come to boil, and then when we have this turn for the bull and this explosion in liquidity, there's gonna be a lot of different ways to get on there. And I think PayPal is going to be prime for getting some fees and making their shareholders very, very happy people with this turn. So keep your eye on what they're going to be doing here. It could be pretty explosive in my mind. So in relation to that, and it's a shame that Jangle is not here, and the reason I say that is because Jangle would FUD PayPal to the ground, just so you all know. But one thing that they are going to be is working with a good custodian for their stablecoin, which is Paxos, who of course also work with Binance to custody BUSD, and they were very, very good about providing monthly audits, keeping everything very transparent on what they had on there. So not a shock to see that they're 100% backed through Paxos, because why wouldn't they be if they're working with Paxos? And they actually talk about what the makeup is of PYUSD. I'll go ahead and put this in the chat right now, so anyone who wants to read can do that. What do you think about PYUSD, Oz?
Yeah, I might join the FUD train, but like first, I don't know the details, but I just know that like Paxos and Binance don't work anymore. I don't know if it's SEC
right,
or what's the reason. So I don't know if they weren't good enough for Binance. I don't know if they're good enough for PayPal. I think in the whole, it's something great. Again, like MetaMask did, it's more easier ramp up to DeFi and crypto. So this is amazing, and more retail getting in. My biggest concern is, what happens if PayPal tomorrow going bankrupt? What happened to all this PYUSD? And I digged a little bit, and basically PayPal can own all the dollars behind it, and then PYUSD will go to zero. So I don't know. I'm just afraid there will be like a bad, quarterly report and then like a bank run on PYUSD. That's like something I can see really easily happening. So I don't know. All the centralized, anything that's centralized, just I think it's great for retail and to bring more people. It's just I don't see it in the long term kind of hold. And I think we see it with the different, Celsius, BlockFi of the world, and some other things, that FTX that we spoke earlier. So if anything is centralized, it's just hard for me to follow, or probably like most of the more DeFi and expert users.
No, I think it's a good point. Gabe, I think you were going to say something. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, there's up and downsides with centralization. I think in PayPal's case, they're likely to make a lot of their profit on trading fees for on and offboarding and things like that. But ultimately, all of these different protocols offering stablecoins that say they're 100% backed, like they have to be backed in assets that are yielding some type of interest in order for this to be something that they can actually make money on. So ultimately, it will be assets with some kind of risk associated to it. And it really just comes down to what the actual breakdown of those reserves are and what they're reinvesting it in.
I think it's mainly T-bills, is it not? I want to say it was.
Yeah, that would
it
make
was
sense.
mainly T-bills. Yeah. So, you know,
We love some
hedge
good
against-
debt monetization, right?
That's what I was about to say. It was like, oh, it's definitely something to definitely monetize against. Yeah, I'm interested to see where this goes. And again, like you mentioned, Oz, it's almost like they're in a way almost like a mini CBDC, right? In the event that they have control of the entire supply. So you certainly don't want to be in a situation where they could hit a kill switch. And we don't know what the KYC is going to be if you want to be someone who wants to send PYUSD between users, as convenient as it is.
It's a CBDC without the upside because it doesn't actually have a government or central bank backing it.
That's true. It's just, capitalism. Yay, capitalism. Yeah. So obviously, Emperor Palpatine will be watching this with great interest. So we'll see where this goes. But anything we can do to I keep seeing this thing in my mind where we get people starting to sell goods, like on Farcaster or something like that. Where it's like now, like, yeah, we'll take PYUSD, and you see this huge, like you see people trying to sell PS5s and Switch 2s on the decentralized black market. For people trying to get it with PYUSD. I don't know why that entered my head. That just seems like something that could totally be a thing.
Maybe it's too much coffee, Chris. Maybe that's why it entered your head.
No, I haven't had coffee yet. Actually, this is all Pepsi Zero. So thanks, Pepsi, for the juice.
All right.
We'll go and move on to another interesting topic, and that's going to be I don't know why they were saying it came back from the dead, but and I don't know why I don't have a banner for it, but we're going to talk about Friend Tech again. We've been following Friend Tech since like 2 weeks before it even launched, but they had a $3 million day or something like that. Either way, here's a Dune dashboard for you. And I did want to, get the thoughts of our resident Friend Tech expert. That would be GG. They're on the way back up. For people are like, oh, is it going to be sustainable? Is something they can do? Yeah, they're on the way back up to the point where, and again, it's a mobile only app, so I can't show it right here, but it's getting kind of expensive to get decent amounts. And the trend right now are aggregators. So ultimately, I mean, to break it down, obviously you buy a key, you buy a share of someone who has an account on Friend Tech, and then you're just getting access to their chat room. But what's interesting about that is the number of different types of people that are coming around. So, we have this spot like friendbook.tech, and basically it looks like Facebook, and they're literally just trying to aggregate anybody under the sun. And then you have some other ones like this crypto pilot, where they're actually aggregating rooms for like, KOLs, key opinion leaders, traders, low caps, research analysts, YouTubers, where they're trying, you pay for one key, you get access to all of these different rooms that they're aggregating. So very interesting idea. I didn't see that coming. That was not on my bingo card. Then you get you have all of the adult content creators as well doing their thing. But Oz, I know you said you're not a Friend Tech user, but what do you think of what has exploded here? Is this something that's interesting to you?
Yeah, it's super interesting. The question where it's going to be is 3 months from now, 6 months from now. I remember it used to be, I even forgot the name, something with coffee, I think it's called, but like invite only like network. It was centralized and everything that, I remember in the beginning, everyone just was running, how can I get an invite? And now probably no one even remember this platform. So I'm just curious where it will be in the future. Like, yeah, now it's super hype, super hot. It's 3 to 6 months, even 1 year. Who knows?
I know. And for anybody out there, if you have a Blue Sky invite, I still would like one. I said on my Twitter, I'd love a Blue Sky invite. If anybody has a Blue Sky invite, I don't know. Is anyone even using Blue Sky anymore? It's like asking, do people use Threads? That type of thing. So GG,
Yeah, man,
go
Threads
ahead.
is popping off.
Is Threads popping off? Okay. Threads is popping off.
It's not, but that
Okay.
anyway. You don't know. It could be.
You're a memer. You're such a memer. Go ahead, GG. Tell me, give me the glass half full view on because obviously you're Xing your keys. So you tell us what we're missing out on.
Yes. And I stand corrected. Jangle's is higher than mine. So I just wanted to put that out there. But I have not been too active in mine yet, but I've been active in finding new users that are active on both Twitter and on FinTech, buying their share fairly cheap, under $20. And I think I bought a couple that were around 50. But my entire portfolio is now up 3x, actually, unrealized profit, because I've not done a lot of trading. The reason why I've not done a lot of trading is because I'm finding a lot of value in those rooms. For example, someone that I met at ETH Denver, they went onto the platform. I saw them. I liked the content that they put out on Twitter. I bought their key. He was giving some great alpha on some new projects. I used some of my 5% degen money 2 days ago, and that did a 4x yesterday, and is still up. So and there's just the community vibe. You know, I think, at least in my world, I don't have a lot of people in my hometown that I can talk to about crypto. I've onboarded a couple of new users that are interested, but for the most part, they don't understand the language that I'm speaking, unfortunately. So I find that FinTech provides that for me, and it's been kind of fun. But I also think if you're strategic and, I spent 2 hours on Saturday doing some research and then doing what I mentioned a second ago. And I found a couple of unicorns. I'm hoping that I'll maybe at some point sell my key, but as long as they're adding value and I'm loving the content that they're putting out, I'm going to stay. So that's kind of my perspective so far. And I was a huge skeptic when I was like, I don't know about this. This is going to fail. This is going to be just a pump and dump. But so far, it took me getting into it and like actually finding a couple of valuable content providers for me to become a believer that this actually could have legs.
And I went ahead and put in, oh gosh, no, there's no formatting available apparently. But for some aggregators, if you're looking to kind of dip your toes and see how much that's there, it's actually a pretty sweet system. It's a progressive web app. Anybody who's in IT that understands that term, that means it's you can use dynamic web development languages to create pretty much just some mobile friendly versions of websites. HMX has one, FinTech obviously is one, and there's a bunch of others that are starting to turn to PWAs, especially with apps and app stores charging commission for a lot of things, and this is a way to skirt those rules, in my personal opinion. So yeah, FinTech is definitely on the rise. Gigi obviously has mentioned she's been able to 3x 4x her portfolio. One thing too, obviously not tax advice, because we are absolutely not tax advisors, but don't forget with the new IRS ruling we talked about 3 weeks ago on the show. Again, these keys, as they mentioned, they're technically going to be considered income from the day you take domain of them. So be careful out there, and obviously make sure you keep good tax records, because at least in the United States, they're gonna get you. They're gonna get you good for taxes.
You think my Coinly will be able to pick these up from FinTech?
Man, Coinly needs to give us a brand deal. we are bigging up Coinly every time we talk about taxes and crypto. And it's obviously myself and Jangle have been using Coinly for several years now. But yeah, we need to get that figured out. I don't know what's going to happen with good. So if anybody knows a good crypto tax person, feel free to share it in the comments.
You guys need to
because
stop being
not easy.
downers and talking about taxes. I mean, that's like, you know, I have a personal relationship with my tax advisor. We get it worked out. I don't want to talk about it. Just talk to your tax guy, and figure it out, or gal, and just stop talking about it. I think it's so depressing. I mean that's all. That's all. It's
Sorry,
so
Andrew.
depressing. I've heard so much about crypto taxes in my life. It's enough. But I just wanted to say a big part of FriendTech, like FriendTech is in a euphoric bull market. It was at $9 million in TVL on the 7th, and it is currently up to 30 million according to DeFi Llama. So I don't know when it was dead. It's been up only. Like there was a slight lull in the
I don't know when it was dead either.
Last quarter of August. I guess it was dead when it was flat at 5 or 6 million. But my only regret is that I didn't hold longer. I did a couple trades, got a nice 4x, and it was like, I could have had an 8x. But that's a great problem to have. But ultimately, when there's so much money coming in, you can pretty much just like throw a rock and your keys are probably going to go up in value.
Are you still mad at me for telling you to sell?
I'm not mad.
Financial advice.
I'm not mad. I was mainly teasing.
Okay,
that
fair
you guys
enough.
gave me bad financial advice.
Hey.
It has been attracting more TVL lately. Putting it into perspective, though, 31 million isn't that big of a crypto project on the grand scheme of things.
But if you think about it, based on the fact that it basically 4x'd its TVL over the last week, like that is some momentum that is happening like over the last week.
Yeah, absolutely. If it can keep that up for a month or two, then yeah, it'll amass a crazy amount of TVL.
I also think it depends on what type of new features they release, in terms of like what you can do within the room. Right now, it's somewhat limited with the chats, but I mean, I think they have a lot of potential if they can continue to develop a great UI and platform.
Yeah, and 5% of the fees for all the trading goes to the content creator itself, right? So there's a
Right.
social incentive from people as it gains more TVL to actually deploy on there and have people trading their keys. Yeah.
It could be a thing. Real quick, everybody, if you could just please like the stream, we'd greatly appreciate that. Help others see the great news and the great things that Archimedes is bringing with their V2 again, launching tomorrow between 10 and 12 a.m. PST. Again, thank you for Oz for being our first rotational guest here, and hopefully we'll have Oz back on in the future for more fun and games as once Jangle gets back and loads up the FUD cannon so they can fire on all of us on different things.
Love it. Thanks again, and good luck.
Yeah, of course.
I think Oz made a good choice coming on when Jangle wasn't here. That's all. Like the one way to make sure that your project doesn't get fudded is to just show up when Jangle isn't here.
But Jangle wouldn't fight. He didn't. Jangle gave him all the great stuff on Friday.
Jangle loves Archimedes.
Yeah,
I just like.
the moment Jangle started talking, Oz actually like sat up and rolled up his sleeves, like, okay, good question, let's go. And we're actually going to put out that recording.
Jangle isn't going to watch this, and nobody's going to tell him, so it's fine.
That's true. We're actually going to put everyone at Beat the Banks, which is our free community. Feel free to join. The link is in the chat. Again, we'll be putting out the recording that from our mastermind group that Oz came and talked to us. So if you want some more in-depth analysis, obviously we asked a lot of questions for Oz and their team last Friday. We'll have that on Beat the Banks probably later today. So now that I'm back from holiday and conscious. So one thing I did want to touch about, and I mentioned we probably won't get to, I'm going to go ahead and get to it anyway. just to be safe, everyone, very, very careful out there. This guy, there we go. You guys know this guy. I'm going to tell everyone this is Tom Cruise. But this is Vitalik Buterin, co-founder of Ethereum. Got SimSwap attacked, like a bunch of different key opinion leaders and influencers. So when you're out there, if you're in social media, do not use SMS two-factor authentication because he got socially engineered. So, essentially use an authenticator app, whether it be Google Authenticator, Authy, Duo, whatever is out there. LastPass Authenticator if you even have to use it. Smoke signals, carrier pigeon. Just don't use SMS. So be very careful out there. There are a lot of people who fell for this consensus hack, I believe it was. He tweeted out something about consensus, which was not true. It led to a malicious link and a bad smart contract. And yeah, a lot of money got lost. So be very careful out there. Something we talk about all the time is to don't trust, verify, right?
One more thing, Chris. I mean,
yes, Gigi.
If they had looked at that post on Twitter and you could see that the comments were turned off, that's a red flag. I mean, if the comments are turned off, it's a scam, guys. Like, don't click on those links, please.
Exactly.
It's X even offers, like, not only do they offer authentication apps, but they also offer security keys, which makes me think you could also use a YubiKey.
Yep.
It really surprises me how many public figures and devs are using text messages as an authentication thing. Like, nobody knows who I am, and if there is an opportunity to not use SMS authentication, I am using something else. It's just it's crazy to me.
Eyeball? You're gonna use your eyeball?
No, I'm not using the eyeball, but okay. I will use an app or a physical key.
Fair enough.
People are stupid clicking on links off Twitter that look like they could be kind of sketch. But also, this is pretty dumb of Vitalik. Like, but it just shows that we all need to make sure we're not using SMS authentication.
It happens to everybody. And again, thanks to Everton for this comment. For Archimedes, after the beta launch, this is alpha for people watching this show. Thank you, Everton. Appreciate that. They're gonna have a lottery system happening so stay tuned for that. Not sure what's going to be sold in the lottery, but excited to see what that's going to be. So check it out. Check it out. That's all we got for today, guys. Again, thanks to Oz from Archimedes for joining us today. Also, thanks to Gigi for getting on the panel. We do this every Wednesday, 12 p.m. Eastern. This is a lunch and learn type of podcast show we've been doing since January of 2022. So join us every week. Love to have you along with us, laughing along with us and having a good time. Feel free to like and subscribe. Help us with the algorithm get out there. And again, we are Beacon. We're the most successful mastermind in all DeFi. Do we still say that?
I think you need to do leave after a sentence like
there
this.
You go. Well, we are the educational brand in on-chain finance and DeFi. That's our goal. So with the best community, having the best events. We're going to see Oz in Miami for ETH Miami. Jangle's a permissionless this week, so come see us at ETH Miami end of next month, and say hello. We'd love to hang out with you and learn more. Andrew, anything you want to close with, sir?
If you're still listening to this after a very long outro, the opportunity to claim your Arbitrum airdrop ends in 10 days and 19 hours.
Yeah.
So check any wallet address that you have that you might have interacted with the Arbitrum blockchain on. Just make sure that you don't have some free money missing there. We had a comment last week someone discovered $3,800 worth of ARB tokens on one of their alternate wallets they hadn't checked previously. Got that money. So double check.
Yeah, I mean we're all over those airdrops. You know, our mastermind, you know, netted over $500,000 in ARB. So
honestly,
we're all
probably
over.
over $1 million, but I'm just positive it was over $500,000.
Yeah, over $500,000, and we're following all the great ones. So again, if you want to join the mastermind, feel free to reach out to us. We'll be happy to book a call with you. All right, that's all we have for today. Enjoy your Wednesday. As we say here, 07, man buns out.